Hi, this is Joachim. This is Chess in Ruby version 2 part 3. Okay, so let's see where we left off. Okay, so we have rook h8. So I believe the problem last time, if I run the rspec and actually let's look for game 1 so we can step through. And the problem was with long castle. So here we have a position where the king was supposed to castle on the queen side, but it ended up castling on the king side. So let's take a look at the problem. Okay, so that would it be? Okay, so we have a move over here. Actually, the regular expression has been kind of moved around a little bit. So, okay. So I think right now the problem is with these anchors. This anchor starts over here and the $sign anchor is over here, but there's an OR. And so the OR is kind of screwing it up. So basically that means that this first part, uh, actually, because this is getting really messed up, instead what I will do is I'll just do it this way and then have an OR castle here. So you can kind of see what the problem is that this one should have a corresponding um, $sign, and this one has a $sign, and it needs a corresponding caret. Okay, and okay, and I think I have a little bit too many parentheses here. It's unnecessary, so I'll just get rid of this one, and I'll get rid of this one. So um, I'll just put a little bit of spacing over here. So we have the rook, then the file. I think I like it with 2 spaces. It looks a little bit better with the 2 spaces. Okay, so we can see the individual parts a lot better. All right, so we can see here that there's a piece, file. All right. Okay, so it's still an illegal move. Oh, actually, this is a different error now. This one actually says that it's an illegal move because it doesn't know about long castle. So this is the kind of error that we expected. So this is good. So let's go and add that in. Okay, so or castle long. Okay, so when it's a long castle, now this is getting to a point where I can't use the ternary statement anymore to see if it's castle. Actually, I probably can, but it looks really messy here now. Hmm. Thinking if I should split this up, but they're really, I don't think so. Yeah, I think we can get away with this. Okay, so if actually I shouldn't have castle here. I should say long castle. All right, so long castle. Then white's turn. Then I want to move the king from g1 or g8. Yeah, that's where it's coming. Actually, interesting. Oh, the two parts, not G. It's C1 and C8. Okay, that's where I want to go to. And in this case, if it's castle or long castle, I think I want to have castle come first. Just want to be a little bit more consistent. This logic is starting to get a little bit long, and I think it was all right when it was just one, but once it starts getting long, then I could break it up into another function, or see. I think let's see if there's a cleverer way of doing this. I think for now I shouldn't try to. This is one of the problems I have is I try to refactor as I'm doing it because I notice a problem. But I should really get this thing to work first. So, all right. So let's see. All right. So actually we completed this. We have an illegal move 1-0 because that's the end of game marker. And I'm gonna quit out and and see. So we need to handle that case. So actually, that's part of that's not even part of the code. So if the line matches, actually, I'm going to use this regular expression. It's going to be a regular expression with quotes as the delimiter. Okay, so it's either going to be 1-0 or 0-1. Actually, it's a vertical bar. 0-1 or 1/2, 1/2. Okay, then we reset the game. So game number gets incremented, and position becomes a new position. Okay. All right. So see if there's anything else that we need. Okay, so let's just run this. All right. King takes g2. Oh, this is very interesting because king takes g2 is this is a new position. All right, so let's see. Okay, this is still part of game one. Illegal move king takes g2. Oh, oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, right. So if we see this, this part comes as an else. So it should not be executed. Actually, might as well just keep it like this and say next. So if it ends up being this, then we just want to continue on. Okay. This, okay, one of the logic, let's get it to pass first. Okay, so now this looks better. So illegal move, knight takes d4. Uh, This is white to move, knight takes d4. This is, yes, that would be an illegal move because the knight can't go to d4, so we need to investigate why this is a problem. Okay, so let's get this thing to pass. Actually, I just realized that I can't make this. I want to be able to refactor a few things, but I was going to wait until it all passed. But instead, what I'm going to do is just refactor now. All right. So now this looks a little bit cleaner. So we have three conditions. If it start with the bracket, okay, all right. So, oh, actually, I think I like this better as a case. And instead of start with, I can just use a regular expression. So it starts with a bracket. Then, okay, then we can do it this way. And oops. When we have a regular expression that looks like this, then this, else this. Okay, so this looks a little bit better, a little bit easier to read. I can follow along now. So I know that there are three types of input, and I can see it based on the when. All right, so this is good. All right, so let's get to the errors. All right, undefined local variable list. Oh, it's a line. Knight takes d4, which is very interesting. Let's run it through here, go to the end. This is game 5. So, and it's a 17th move. Knight takes d5. So, oh, I see. The problem in this case is the filtering, because we notice that there's a knight on d2, but there's also a knight that's able to go to d2. So what I'm guessing is that this game 5. So game 5. All right, so let's take a look at this game and pay close attention to where the knight goes to d2. Okay, so this is the point. So this is knight b d2. So here's a knight, and it was supposed to go, it brought the wrong knight. And so let's see why that happened. Um, it should have at least thrown an ambiguous move error. Okay, so let's go take a look. And so this is a real error now. This is part of, okay. Ah, I see. See, position board. Okay, so we have all of this, is piece taken, and move piece is done right here. And here's the illegal move. This is the list of possible moves that we're considering. So we're going through all of them, and I know what the problem is here. Um, well, okay. Um, the problem is with move piece, because what move piece is doing is actually changing the state, and this is one of the problems um, with object-oriented programming is you're changing the state, and it's hard to keep track of when you want it just temporarily and when you don't. In this case, um, we don't actually, since we're doing a test here, we don't actually want to change the position, and this is actually making the move on the board. Uh, this should really be on the new position, but this itself is not. I don't know. Let's see if this works. I think there might be some problems with this. Um, Piece is equal to position board from move piece. Okay. Yes. Right. This causes a problem because uh, move piece changes the state, but we're inside a selection where we're just testing stuff out, and we don't want it to actually change. And this it 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 so when we test out the first one, it actually moves the piece, and we're using the same position. So the next time it tries to test, well, it's that state has changed, but we want the original state. So we need to make move piece more like a functional um, method. And we can do that by having it return a new position. So we'll do it this way. We'll make it return a position. And okay, and then we can just leave this alone. So let's go to move piece and set up a position. Just create a copy of it. We could also say self do, but I guess this is probably a better way of doing it. And now when we actually move the piece, which is right here, okay, there's no other thing that moves it, so E, okay. And every time we say board, uh, we should put position board. And instead of returning self, we're going to return position. Okay, so let's see. We have an error here about, okay, so we have a position of king e1, h1, so it's trying to castle. And let's see what this looks like. It didn't move the secondary part. Okay, so that is because of these things. These things are kind of screwing it up now. And so basically we need to do, so move king and move pawn, they're changing state, and so we need to do it based off the position. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is the same problem. Okay, see, just take a look at board. Right, so piece, board from, everything castling, and here's, I see, because this is using move piece, and yes, okay, that's why. Okay, so the reason why is because we changed the way move piece worked, and it's recursively calling move piece, and it's not using it in our sense. So uh, MoveKing, all of these things will have to be a let's see. Okay, so they have to be treated as if it's a function. So it returns a position. Okay, so then it could continue on. So if it changes its state, uh, this makes it more explicit that you're changing, you're transforming the data from one to another because you have this assignment statement. And let's see. All right, we have this nil test that's happening here. So we need to wrap these in parentheses. So if we had written this in a functional style where we expected the state to be more immutable, then we wouldn't have gotten into this situation. Okay. All right, so let's see. We need to change each one of these things now. So like move rook, for example, we have so when we move a rook, it's actually going to make a copy. Actually, should take a position. So right, because it's just an extension. Oh, actually, this makes sense now. Um, okay, so instead of doing it this way, because then you would make an extra copy. You already have a copy, so this is the copy. So we'll just pass the copy in, and it'll change the state of the position there. And we can, okay, we don't need to do all these extra things. We wouldn't have had this problem if the code was living directly inside of this method. Um, so um, so it's probably better just to pass in extra parameters as needed. Okay, so there we go. Because the variable position doesn't actually change, the state changes. So okay, so that's good. And all these things should now be taking a position. So move pawn. Okay, starting from move pawn. So basically continue with the same change. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so any type of board change. Or references to the board. Okay, and actually this one should be to the copy. Okay. Um, see. Just eyeballing this. Okay. This looks okay. Let's take a look at this one, we do the same thing. We're doing it to a copy of the position. Okay. Okay, this looks good. Oh, and we're modifying the castling over here, so we're moving a piece. Actually, in this case, move piece will return a new position. Oh, this is actually very interesting now. Uh, this is really interesting. Okay, so because of this recursive nature, so I think what I really want to do is make move piece not functional at all. Instead, um, let's see this. Okay, so instead of move making a copy here, um, actually it's a copy, and there's move piece. I'm going to make move piece, well, okay, originally it was not functional. Was it functional? No, it wasn't functional. Okay. Actually, let me, okay. Oh, actually, I can tell from here that this was the original code. So, move piece. Right, okay. So the only problem is inside of here, and I'm making changes that are way outside the scope. So the bug lies in here, so I'm going to make the change in here. So I'm going to have to revert back the whole code. Not the whole code, but the code that I changed with position. So I realize that this is the wrong way because it's opening up a big can of worms here. So luckily, um, I have these markers to indicate things that I've changed. And so if I just bring it back, um, MC, once I save, it'll tell me that it should be back to the way it was. All I'm getting, okay, get rid of the position, get rid of the position. Okay. At this point, I'm not too worried about making such vast changes because I have the, okay, good. So it caught up. Oh, I missed one. All right. Okay. Because I have the tests, okay, I have a lot of confidence making sweeping changes like this, and I have, uh, so I have courage. Okay, let's see. Let's see. In this case, this is interesting. This is I changed this. Oh, that's because of position here, and we don't need to pass in parameters anymore. So hopefully this should see. Oh, there's some. Actually, that's part of, yeah, that's part of move p. So, and this should be self. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. Should get an error. Ooh. Let's see, what is the error? Well, first, okay, I'm just looking at the changes that I've made, and I'm looking at these markers here. Okay, so let's see. Unexpected parentheses. Oh, right, because there's too many parentheses now. Okay, and okay, so we have one more. Oh, we don't need that anymore. Okay, so let's save. And that looks like, okay, so we're back to our original problem. So I'm going back to move. Here we're back in move. This could look prettier. We have lines that are overflowing. We have big blocks of code. So at least have like character turns, I guess, so that we can separate it. Okay, so I will come back to this. But first, let's solve the problem. The problem is that we need to work on a copy. So when we're testing it, we need to make a copy of this and try stuff out. So I'm going to break this up, and I'm just going to call it temp, which is create a copy of the position, and that's all we need to do. That should be it. And okay, so this is good. So that passed, and legal moves from PGN should not raise exception. Okay. Name error, uninitialized constant ambiguous move. Okay, this is great. So we're up to the next error. So let's look for illegal move here. Where's the illegal move? There it is. Okay, so we're an illegal move, and we need to create, let's see, ambiguous. And this is going to, okay, so this will just be exception, and the, okay, this would have a different signature. It would take a string, position, and a list of move. So I'll just say list. Okay, so in the error message, it's going to be basically the same as this. So I'll just copy that. But we're going to modify this so that it also prints out, okay, it'll also print out the list of moves that it's considering. So list inspect. Actually, this would be a list of moves that we can't read, so it'll be numbers. So I'm going to map this so that I'll take an index and turn it into position. Okay, so that, and we need to say dot inspect. Okay. So the error message should look, okay, now we have ambiguous move here, and we have the list, D8 and H8. Okay, so let's see what's the ambiguous move here. Ah, right. So this is the same situation, except now the king, the castling is done on the correct side. So it's supposed to move rook to G8, and G8 is this square. And it's having a problem determining whether it wants this one or this one. Okay, perfect. I know exactly what the problem is. So let's see. It's part of move. Okay, so in here, we specify the file that it's located in, but we're not filtering based off the file. I think last time we just added this in and it passed, so it didn't need it. But in this case, we do need it. we need to use it. So here we have the select. And so we need to do a filtering. So let's see, file. Okay, I'm hesitant to use the actual variable file because that can really be misleading. So I think I will, well, I don't want to say column because when you say column, you kind of expect it to be a number. And this is not a number. So instead, what I'll do is I'll just have a function called toCall. And actually call to call a file, m file. Okay, so we have a column here. So, and that's going to be used in the select. So actually we can just do this first, and I'm going to use it closer to where I need it. Okay, so we have the column, and the test is going to be select those where, okay, so far at this point, interesting. I was just thinking that this block of code could become its own function because it's doing very, okay, anyway, okay, so so we have select from, and we have to make sure that this only gets kicked in if the column exists. So if col. So now we have a column. So we have to make sure that the from is equal to the column. That's all we need to do. Okay, toCall. So let's write toCall. So it's going to take a letter, and as a matter of fact, we I was thinking that we could do the same thing as what we did with the coordinates, but I realized that's probably a bad idea. For one thing, it'll be like a one-letter variable, and that looks really bad. Okay. Okay. So anyway, so toCall of okay, A is going to be, that should be 0, and B should be a 1. Okay. All right. So let's go make toCall. Let's go back here, and toCall of a file. Okay, so that would be actually, instead of saying file, I'll just say string. Okay, so we have a string, and we want to get the ASCII character value of it, and I'll just to make it more explicit, I would say the first character, and subtract a from it. Okay, and that should do it. toCall. Oh, nil class. So what happens if this is nil? So return nil if it's nil. Ambiguous move. Oh, okay. So let's. Okay, so going back to move here. List is equal to this. Okay. The reason why is because we didn't assign this back to list. Okay, so. Oh, actually. We could use the exclamation point version of this. So modify the list. Okay, so we went a little bit further now, and the error here is ambiguous move F5. And this is black's turn. Actually, I don't like this B, so when I'm printing it out, the turn, I'm just going to print the turn. Okay, so it's black to move, and you're trying to do F5. I see. F5. So here's the F5 square, and I think what the problem is that it thinks that, well, the actual move should be this pawn move up 2 squares, but I think that it's trying to move this pawn backwards. So I didn't write a test to see if you are able to go backwards, to prevent it from going backwards. Actually, I think I did. Let's see. Let's take a look at that error again. Okay, so let's roll through the actual game. And this is game, oh, still game 5. Okay, so game 5. So let's game 5. Okay, so let's take a look to see if any illegal moves are being played. So so far it looks good. Looks like a normal game. You know, actually, one of the problems that I have here when I'm looking through this game is that it's kind of hard to see with the pieces. So what I'm going to do is for 2S, I'm going to change those pieces. So I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to do a map over here on a piece and change it. Okay, so when it's a pawn, then I want it to become so on a Mac, in order to bring this up, you can do Command Option T, and you can actually type what you're looking for. In this case, I type chess, and so these are chess pieces. So and this is Unicode. So that's a white white pawn. White pawn. So let's see. Okay, white pawn. When actually, let me put in all these first. Okay, pawn, rook, knight, okay, so pawn, rook, knight, bishop, queen, and king. So this should take care of all the positions. I mean the pieces. lowercase king. Otherwise, it's just itself. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Oops. Huh. Interesting. Oops. Okay, so let me try this again. Okay, so starting from here, Control V, down, Control N. All right. Oops. Okay, so the first one was a little bit different because I had that. Okay. Okay. All right. That took way too long. All right, so let's see. Black pawn. White rook. Black rook. White knight. Black knight. Black bishop. A white bishop, actually. And see, black bishop. White queen. Black queen. King. And black king. All right, so let's take a look. This is a little bit easier to see. The bishop is kind of hard to see, but all right, not bad. Okay, so ambiguous move f5, and we're going through the games here. So let's take a look. Actually, this is kind of weird because the colors are inverted. So these are black pieces and these are white, even though this looks very white. So game 5. All right, so let's take a look at, actually, let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. All right, so let's go check this out. Ambiguous, oh yeah, right. So f5 seems like, it is kind of hard to tell. I think I do have to make the font a little bit bigger. See, yeah, interesting. I have a hard time telling the difference between the queens. I think if I chose a different font here, it'd be easier to discern. But okay, so in this case, it wants to push this pawn up, and that's the problem. It thinks that it's oh, so actually, let's take a look at why it thinks that it's ambiguous. Just bring the size back. Okay, it thinks that it's ambiguous because of f7 and f4. Right. It thinks that it can move a pawn backwards. All right, so let's just tell it you can't go backwards. Okay, so it should be part of move list. Actually, we have move, dupe, move list. Okay, let's take a look at what. Okay, all right. So in illegal move, we have a pawn on e2. It all starts on e2, so it never really goes backwards. So let's put a condition here where the pawn is on e3. Actually, let's put it in the middle, e4, and we try to move the piece from e4 to e2 going backwards. Actually, e1, e3. Okay. So it can't go backwards. So this should be nil. Okay, so right. So this is allowing it to go backwards. So let's go fix that. So move piece. And put it part of move pawn, actually. Okay, so here we are. So move pawn. All right. Okay, so if you're white, interesting. I wonder. I think I need to run the debugger here because this is a very. It seems like the case is taken care of. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. So I'm gonna put it right here. So tap debugger. Okay, so we're not exactly in here. Define method. It's interesting that it's that method is causing the debugger to not work. So instead, what I'll do is, okay, this is move piece. Okay. So let me go back into move piece and figure out a different way. It's actually surprising that the debugger is broken like that. I wonder if there's any way that I can get around it. I don't think so. Okay. So these are kind of the things that unexpected things that you learn. It's like, so I don't have the use of the debugger. Well, actually, I do. It's just that I would have to step through a bunch of things in order to get to where I want. I wonder. The debugger. I wonder. I wonder what would happen. Actually, wrong place. Okay, so I put the debugger back in. What happens if I type continue? It finishes. Oh, great. So I think what I can do is have the debugger being triggered here, but inside, maybe if I can just do it twice. Interesting. I wonder what happens if I do it twice. Huh, isn't that interesting? It works. I think it works. Um, Continue? No, it didn't quite work. Um, Move piece, and it goes into the module because, and then define, and then this will work. All right, so not quite, but I still think that I want to get into the debugger, so let me just get in there. Next. Oh, actually, I just have to say next twice, and I'm done. Oh, so I'm back. Okay, so it's still usable. Great. All right, so let's take a look here and go through the logic. Okay, so move piece, and we want to keep going here. Okay, pawn, step through. Okay, so this is where we want. We want for the move pawn here. All right, so where? Oh, isn't this interesting? This, okay, so the condition, I was looking here, but I was looking in the wrong place. This is for a capture. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to put a comment here right now. Okay, so I know exactly what the problem is now. I was looking in the wrong place. Um, okay, so thank you, debugger. Okay, so let's go back and go to move piece. Actually, move pawn. Okay, so we're at move pawn here. And I'll just put a comment here saying, actually, put it right above it, capture, move forward. Okay, so this doesn't actually do move forward. Let me see. En passant. Actually, I'll put it over here. Okay. Okay, so dy. Okay, then we have to make this condition that it's just a one. Oh, isn't this interesting? Oh, actually, this is sufficient. This condition is sufficient because we have all these other conditions here. And so we have the condition where if you jump 2 squares, you can't jump more than 2, and it has to be an empty square. And we forgot another condition is you can't go backwards. So let's see, compare. We'll just do a compare here like this. And this should equal, if you're white, see, based on the piece. Okay, if you're white, you're expecting this to be, this is the direction. So if you're white, you should be going forward. And if you're black, it's the other way. Okay. And we have an error here, E2, E3. I think we have the logic backwards, maybe. Oh, right. This is the positive case. We want to say it's not. Actually, Hmm. Hmm. So I don't want to return nil immediately because it could be one or two squares. um, okay, so let me do the condition for white. So if it's white, it would look something like should be either 1 or actually -1. No, it's not. Not 2. So I guess I'll just do it this way. Um, if it's white, black would be positive. So white. Okay. Okay, so we're up to the next error, which is promotion. All right. So that's part of a pawn thing. And okay, so this should handle a promotion. Piece. Actually, right here. Actually, okay, this is part of a piece move. So it's possible to have equal a piece. Not piece, it would be promote. And that would be rook, knight, bishop, queen. Okay, those are your only choices. Okay. All right. So pawn. Move. Okay, and shall we? Okay. Well, we already have M promote. Okay, so let's see. When we move the piece, right. So at the end over here, if there is a promote, we basically what we want to do is we want to set the promote piece. So we have the 2, and we're going to put a promote if the promote exists, and it's a pawn. So piece, just put a little caveat here that it's a pawn. We need to make sure that we upcase that. Actually, I want to have promote first. Okay. Oh, interesting. If the promote, oh, the reason is because this is optional. So put a question mark there. Undefined promote, right? Because it's not. So what it is M promote. Okay. Ambiguous move rook e1. Okay, this is the case where the queen has pinned the rook against the king, and we're not doing a check on whether or not the king is in check. So that's what we need to do. Okay. Let's see. Actually, I think this is a good stopping point. And so I'll be back.